When my wife Emily and I bought our first home in Fairwood Estates, we thought we'd finally made it. 5 years of working double shifts, skipping vacations, and living on instant noodles had finally paid off. We'd left our tiny one-bedroom apartment behind for the neighborhood of our dreams. But we quickly learned we didn't buy a home. We walked straight into a battlefield ruled by a millionaire who believed everything and everyone had a price. His name was Richard Preston. He greeted us on move-in day like a king inspecting new servants. He was tall, with perfect salt and pepper hair and a suit worth more than my car. But his smile was too polished to be sincere. His gaze landed on Emily, and it lingered just a little too long, making my stomach twist. He introduced himself as the developer of Fairwood Estates, which basically meant, "I'd built this kingdom, and you live here because I allow it." He brought us champagne and a fancy gift basket. Emily thanked him. I smiled politely, but I knew. He wasn't there to welcome us. He was there to appraise us. Or more accurately, to appraise her. A week later, he invited us to a small gathering. It wasn't a friendly neighborhood meet and greet. It was a performance, a display of wealth staged for one man's ego. The moment we walked in, he pulled Emily away, guiding her through the crowd like she was something he already owned. Another neighbor, Michael, pulled me aside. He leaned in and whispered, "Keep an eye on your wife. Preston has a history." "What kind of history?" I asked. Michael's eyes darkened. "The kind where he offers jobs, favors, and expects the wives in this neighborhood to repay him in other ways." That was strike one. Strike two came a week later. Richard summoned me to a restaurant where the breadsticks cost more than our monthly utilities. That's where he laid out his real agenda. He wanted Emily. He dangled a $175,000 job, a company car, full benefits, a dream opportunity. But the way he said her name, the way his eyes glowed when he mentioned personal dinners, it made my blood run cold. He wasn't offering her a career, he was buying an opening. When Emily politely refused his first advances, our world started to crumble. Our deck permit was mysteriously denied. Neighbors who used to wave now looked right through us. Mail went missing. We started getting citations for things we didn't even do. The message was loud and clear: play by his rules, or he would make our lives a living hell. One night, things escalated. Emily found a small velvet box on our porch. Inside were diamond earrings with a handwritten note. "Dinner?" Oh, that man had crossed every boundary imaginable. I was ready to confront him, to fight him. But Emily, she wanted to destroy him. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a terrifying resolve, and said, "I think I should take the job." I thought she was insane. "Absolutely not," I told her. But then she explained her plan. It was about getting access, information, evidence. To beat a man like Richard, we had to expose him from the inside. And my brave, incredible wife was willing to walk straight into the lion's den to protect our family. So she took the job, not for the money, not for Richard, for justice. Inside his company, Emily uncovered a nightmare. Fake properties, shell companies, offshore accounts, millions of dollars disappearing into consulting fees. But it was so much worse than that. She found photos, invoices, and records of young women brought in as domestic staff. It wasn't just fraud, it was human trafficking. My wife had walked into the heart of a criminal empire, and then everything exploded. During a company gala, Emily texted me, "Downloading files now, found something huge, coming down," then silence. The next call froze my blood. It was Emily, whispering in a panic. "Jake, don't come up," Preston followed me. "I'm hiding." I could hear his voice in the background, cold and menacing. "In a supply closet, Emily." "You disappoint me." He had her, cornered. I raced to the building, my heart pounding. But Emily, she's brilliant. She manipulated him, talked her way out, and walked right past me with his hand on her back, as if she were his prize. The second she got in the car, she broke down. "Jake, he has photos of us, audio. He put spyware on our phones. He knows everything." Then she pulled a tiny USB drive from her bra. But I got a copy before he caught me. We went straight to the FBI. For weeks, we lived in hiding while they built the case. The evidence Emily gathered cracked his entire empire wide open. 7 weeks later, federal agents raided his homes, his offices, his yacht. They rescued 16 young women. And Richard Preston? He was arrested in handcuffs, his ego shattered on national news. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. A few months later, the FBI agent called us. Richard's mansion, the one he lorded over the neighborhood from, was going up for auction. Emily's eyes lit up with this fierce, beautiful fire. "We should buy it," she said. I was stunned. "Why?" "Not to live in," she explained. "To transform it. To turn his palace of exploitation into a sanctuary for the people he hurt. And that's exactly what we did." We partnered with nonprofits and launched a campaign. 1 year later, the New Beginnings Recovery Center opened its doors. The very same mansion Richard used for intimidation and cruelty was now a haven for survivors. Emily designed every single room to be warm, safe, and healing. On opening day, she stood beside me on the front steps. She leaned against me and asked, "What do you think Richard would say if he saw this now?" I smiled. "He wouldn't understand. He only ever knew how to take." My wife looked at the home, now full of hope, and said, "But love, courage, justice, those can't be bought. They can only be chosen. We didn't just win. We turned a nightmare into a place where others could finally dream again." Thanks for watching.